Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Yusra. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, a working therapist, and I love pop culture. Today, we'll be taking a deeper dive into the TV show Big Mood. If you're not familiar with Big Mood, it is about two best friends entering their 30s, each dealing with their own issues. In these scenes, we'll be following the character of Maggie, played by Nicola Coughlan, as she visits with her clinician, Dr. Burrows, played by Sally Phillips. Now, as a comedy drama, obviously a lot of these things are played for laughs. But sometimes I find that when we watch scenes about mental health or therapy or therapists, we don't always catch all of the ways that they're doing things really, really badly. So I wanted to just go through it and see what's right and what's not so right and what's atrocious and really get into it. All right, here we go.
Come in. You're not Dr. Golding?
No.
Okay.
Who are you?
I have to stop this right here. It should be very clear to the client who they are meeting with, and if they're not meeting with the person that they made the appointment with, they should have the choice of whether or not they're going to meet with whoever's covering for them.
Dr. Golding's very unfortunately had a massive car accident at the weekend and may in fact be paralysed.
Okay, could I maybe see him on FaceTime, like if someone else can hold up the phone or...
I'm Dr. Burrows and you must be Margaret.
Maggie.
Oh, that's the stability triangle. It's my life's work.
Okay, let's go back and look at that a little bit more closely. We have 3 corners of triangle. I should mention that this is not a real thing.
This is fake.
It's not a real intervention practice. But let's take a look. So we have network, good friendships, nourish, good habits, and endeavor to work. So I will say socialization, connecting with your network, and also paying attention to what we're consuming, both physically and emotionally, are both important aspects of our well-being, though I wouldn't say that it's necessarily all-encompassing. And in terms of work, I'm not exactly sure what that means. Is that career? Is that productivity? Productivity is going to mean different things to different people. And not everyone is going to work, and they can still lead very fulfilling and healthy lives. So it's a little bit confusing and again, not necessarily all-encompassing. Let's keep going.
Oh, that's the stability triangle. It's my life's work. It really is all we need to stay grounded.
Do any other shapes or...
Not peer reviewed. So,
That's funny.
Dr. Goulding's notes. You've been diagnosed with bipolar 2 for 6 years?
All right, great. So here we have a diagnosis. She was diagnosed 6 years ago. She just turned 30, so she would have been 24.
Nice, you can count.
Which is actually pretty accurate to the data that a lot of the time major mental health issues will start to really become more apparent in either late adolescence or early 20s, and bipolar 2. So bipolar 2 is a mood disorder, and it's characterized by patterns of periods of depression and hypomania. So hypomania is a less severe and typically lasts a shorter period of time than mania. And mania is a characteristic of bipolar 1. That's the big difference between the two diagnoses. Some of the symptoms of hypomania are having unusually high levels of energy, inability to sleep, or not feeling like you need to sleep, having a lot of thoughts about a lot of things at the same time. That's also called flight of ideas. There's also some people experience an inflated self-esteem.
I am the king. I can do whatever I want.
And engage in impulsive or reckless behavior. And if you have seen episode 1 of Big Mood, you would have seen Maggie in a hypomanic state.
What kind of writing do you do?
Playwright.
Oh, good.
I feel like this is a joke that I'm not getting. I'm not really sure why she's concerned about the type of writer that Maggie is. If you know the joke that I missed, please put it in the comments below.
You've been taking lithium for about 5 years.
Yeah, I've actually decided to come off the lithium. I think
You mustn't do that. Don't do that. You won't do that, will you?
Take it easy.
Okay, I do find this reaction from Dr. Burrows kind of funny because there are times when a clinician might hear a client say something, and that might be the initial internal reaction that a clinician might have, but you, as a clinician, would want to really take a step back and get an understanding of where the client is coming from and talk through that before showing any kind of reaction, because if you're having a reaction, the client's also going to have a reaction to you, and you're having a reaction without having a full understanding of what's going on.
I already have.
What? When?
A few weeks.
Weeks?
It makes it like impossible to write, which is like the bulk of, if not all of being a writer. My last play was terrible, and I think it's because of the lithium.
Okay, that's okay. It's absolutely fine. What we're going to do is just going to start again. What was the dose that you
She's not listening.
No, I can't go back on it because I need to be able to do my job, and it's like it's the only thing I'm good at, and I can't work in an office. Excel is impenetrable.
Okay, a lot there. So lithium has historically been a first-line treatment for bipolar, and we actually still don't know exactly why it works. We just know that it does. But it does have withdrawal symptoms if a person is coming off of it cold turkey, one of them being a return of their bipolar symptoms. So it's not wrong to have a discussion about the medication and being on medication. But again, Dr. Burrows is really like jumping the gun here as to like, no, you have to go back on medication, and it absolutely has to be lithium. There are medications out there. If a patient is experiencing side effects from a medication, that is absolutely something that needs to be addressed, because if they don't have quality of life on that medication, they're not going to keep taking it. The client has to have buy-in. If you are just telling a client to do something and they don't have buy-in, they don't believe you, your therapy practice or even medication management practice is not going to be effective. We also had that moment where Maggie rolls up her sleeves and there's Band-Aids all over her arms. So unclear if it's self-harm or skin picking. We'll have to see where that goes.
Maggie, are you self-harming?
No, not really. It's more like just like self-irritating.
Okay,
and are you
more of a skin picking than self-harm there.
Suicidal thoughts?
I don't think I should say.
I think I'm probably going to have to admit you.
Okay.
Okay, slow down. Just
So the way that Maggie responds to that question is really, really accurate, I would say, for a lot of people, that it's very difficult to talk about suicidal ideation. It's hard to admit it. And for people who have experience in mental health treatment, unfortunately, they start to equate admitting to having suicidal ideation with being admitted inpatient, and they will avoid talking about it, even if that avoids actually getting help for it, because they want to avoid being admitted. And it's a really difficult cycle, because clinicians have legal obligations around suicide prevention, and obviously they're trying to take care of their patients, but there are other ramifications around how they address those issues. Also, before Dr. Burrows just goes right into "I have to admit you," she would have to do a full suicide assessment and have a full conversation about what Maggie is experiencing and create a plan around that.
Advice to bring back all the bipolar symptoms, the suicidal ideation, the lack of sleep, the looking terrible.
Oh, what else is no? I just think I need to come off the lithium for like a month.
A month? Do I look insane to you?
Yes.
Okay. How about a couple of weeks? I would just really love the opportunity to try out the stability triangle. I just think it's like such an innovative theory.
Okay. So the way that Dr. Burrows is approaching this is she's basically just saying, hey, this is what you have to do, and there's no other option. She's not really providing a lot of psychoeducation in a way that the client can receive and understand that information and, again, have buy-in. Maggie has already created a treatment plan in her head. She is just here to get like an outside okay to do whatever it is that she wants to do. And she's now trying to convince Dr. Burrows that, like, oh, I'll do this thing that you created, this stability triangle, just to get out of that office, get the okay from Dr. Burrows, and do her own treatment plan that she has made for herself, as opposed to Dr. Burrows talking to Maggie in a collaborative way to say, hey, what's going on for you? How can I help? Let me tell you the information that I know about your diagnosis, and let's do this together. But they're kind of continuously at odds with each other. And first time they're meeting, she hasn't really tried to create any sort of relationship with Maggie.
1 week.
Yeah.
And you come back providing proof that you've been triangulating. Could be watching you.
Okay, that's so weird.
I don't know why she would say that, but it is funny.
What's her deal?
She had a patient kill themselves on the ward last month.
Well, I'm kind of going with the territory.
Not just any patient. One of those Instagram followers.
No! You can't kill an influencer.
Apparently there's a lawsuit, so she's kind of on edge.
Okay, she says, Maggie, please, if there are any problems, you contact me here day or night, Dr. Isabel Burrows. So different clinicians have different ways of setting boundaries around communication and contact. I want to say that most people are not available every single day, 24/7. This sounds like it could, whether or not this is her actual policy regularly or not, but in the context of just having heard that she lost a patient to suicide, she might be overcompensating.
Overcompensating for what?
In that context, I would say one of the things that is really important for clinicians is what's called case consultation. So clinicians will come together with other clinicians and talk about cases that they have, clients or patients that they're working with, without identifying information. You're maintaining confidentiality, but you're talking about what is coming up in those sessions and how you are trying to approach it and where you're getting stuck, where you're having issues. There's also something called counter-transference, where based off of what a client is experiencing or talking about or presenting themselves as, the therapist as a human being is having a reaction to that. And it's really important for clinicians, therapists to be very aware of what's happening for themselves in a session. If there are any emotions that are coming up for the clinician, to be really aware of them and know what to do with those responses in a way that is still beneficial for the client and for the clinician-client relationship.
Did she make this meme herself?
This has been part 1 of our deeper dive into Big Mood. Stay tuned for part 2.